I absolutely understand why people do drugs. 100%. I understand it. I'm not going to justify it. I'm not going to say that it's okay or good, but I understand it. Life is so hard for some people. And they get hurt, they get hit, they get broken, stress coming from every angle. It just, you know, it's an escape. It's a refuge to run into. You know, it's like it can feel like this, even though it really compounds your problems, and it doesn't come without side effects, right? It's gonna hurt you in one way or the other, but it's an escape. It takes you away from your problems. It makes everything better temporarily. You know, to just run into a bottle or run into a substance, whatever it may be. You know, I get it. I get it. Not judging. I get it. I look at it from a more pragmatic viewpoint in that you're harming yourself in one way or another. It's your relief is temporary. And to whatever extent you're probably not living in reality when you do that. But it's numbing. It feels good. It takes you away. It's an escape. It's like sleeping. Some people sleep, and I've been there. You know, you sleep. Sometimes you just get so depressed you go to sleep because you're just like, screw it. It's better to sleep than even be awake. You know, life can be so hard for some people. It's sad, but it's reality. You know, think of that the next time you judge somebody. You know, I would say at the same time there's some drugs that are better than others. Like I would never, you know, if there was any drug that I would encourage anybody, first of all, I wouldn't encourage anybody to take drugs, period. But if there was any drug that I would say, well, you could do that and it has the least side effects, it would be marijuana. You know, it takes you away, takes your mind away, calms you down, removes your stress. But there's side effects. There's side effects. You know, you're harming your lungs, you're harming your brain to whatever extent. It, messes up your respiratory system, meaning your lungs are all messed up, your throat's messed up. You know, and if you mess up your lungs or your throat or your respiratory system, it's going to have effects on your cardiovascular system. It's going to have effects on your brain health. It's going to have effects on your organs. So you're hurting yourself one way or another, right? But it's better than alcohol. It's better than cigarettes. It's better than any other drug. It's the least harmful drug, in my opinion. From my studies, from everything I've learned in life. But it's still an escape. It's still a drug. It still harms you. It's still a substance. Life is hard. It comes at you, you know. You got family problems. You got money problems. You got society problems. You got friendship problems. You got women problems, relationship problems. You got and I've been through the gauntlet. I've had cars go out on me. I've had horrible women treat me horrible. Had bad relationships that didn't work out, that just left me gutted. I've had horrible family problems. I've had illnesses, personal setbacks, major personal setbacks. I've had money problems. I've had, you name it, I've been through it, man. I've been to jail. I've had cops harass me. I've had, friends betray me, backstab me. People stole from me. You name it. I've been on this earth 4 decades, and I've had everything under the sun happen to me. And I've had some good times. That's life. That's life. You have some good times, and you have some bad times, and then you have a lot of boring times, a lot of mundane times, a lot of average days, a lot of uneventful days, a lot of tedious days, then you have stressful days, then you have chaotic days, and then you have emergency days, and then you have dangerous days, and that's life, you know? And the best you can do is just the best you can do. The best you can do is do your best. But for some people, they have harder days than others. Some people are tired of coping. Some people are tired of, tired of the grind, tired of putting in work and not seeing any success, putting in effort and not seeing any progress. That's also a part of life. And as humans, we have this unfortunate, mentality and mindset that often, we think, gosh, life should be so much better. This sucks, and it's easy to just be like, okay, let me just go drink, or let me just go do drugs. Let me just go, because it's such an immediate escape of reality, and reality can get unbearable. So I understand it. I get it, man. I get it, the older I get, I think the less judgmental I am, in a way. I'm more judgmental against pretension now. I'm more judgmental against, arrogance and narcissism. And I have a different mindset now than when I was younger. When I was younger, I was like, oh, druggies, or, these people, da, da, da. The druggies, the poor people, the non-achievers, those people aren't the problem in life. No, they're not as much of a problem as the users, the abusers, the narcissistic people, But anyway, I'm not going to turn this into a preachy podcast. I'm just saying, I get it. I get it. I get it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying you should do it. Don't do it. To the best of your ability, don't do it. I struggle with it myself. I just think, oh man, let me just go get high, or let me just go get some weed, and I've been there. For years I was there. Just getting high all the time because it's an escape. It's an escape. And I get tempted. I get tempted because life gets hard. It hits you. I would say turn to God. If you can, meditate. It's better to be sober. It's just better to be sober. Because you only got 80 years if you're lucky. That is a lot of time, but it's not a lot of time at the same time, and it goes fast. And when you're on a substance, it just eats away your time. It eats away your life, and then you gotta recover. Your body, your has to recover. Your brain has to recover. It's got to build back up serotonin and all these chemicals. It's got to build back up. Anyway, and it's a process. It takes time to rebuild all that. It takes time. It takes years, really, to get normal. And if you spend 5-10 years of your life being abnormal, being on a substance, you don't know what normal is anymore. Your brain doesn't know what it is anymore. It has to relearn things. It has to build new synapses. It has to build new, build new memories, build new cells. The body is just interesting. It's interesting because, you're on a substance and your body adapts to that. It gets used to it. It's like, oh, okay. Our new reality is this substance. It's how we feel on this drug or this thing that we're using. And then it adapts to that. It cultivates its normality towards that. And you take that away and okay, it's time to get sober because the side effects are too much. I can't get my life together. I can't do this. I can't do that. You know. Yeah, and then you gotta get normal, and that takes years sometimes. And imagine you've been doing drugs or drinking or whatever for years. It's gonna take years to get back to a new normal. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is that they think, oh, this ain't nothing. I could do this, and I'm good. I can recover. But it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. You got to build new cells. You got to build new synapses. You got to figure out your brain and body has to figure out a new normal, and that just doesn't happen quickly. Particularly when you get older, because your body isn't. It's not responding the same way as it used to. When you're young, it's like you could eat junk food all you want and you're fine. Seemingly, your body's so healthy, it's so, so young. But then you get older and you eat junk food and you feel like shit for a week. It's just, you know what I mean? So it's just like, anyway, imagine if you're doing a hardcore drug, or imagine it messes you up, man. But anyway, I would say ultimately, yeah, it's better to be sober. But I understand. I get why people do it. I get why people choose that escape. It's very relatable, very understandable. Particularly the older you get, the more stress you have, the more life hits you, the more you realize life is hard, life is heavy hitting. Yeah, makes sense why people would escape and choose a different reality, choose to live their life high, live their life messed up. Totally makes sense. Anyway, thanks for listening. Hope that brings, maybe some understanding, some clarity towards what people go through. We'd all like to see people live their best life, but in reality, life is brutal for many people. So, thanks for listening.